I was going to ask you is for the, I know that you just left one of these groups. You were saying, like, what would you say the percentage of guys in those groups are really red pill, and what guys are real still clinging to that blue pill paradigm?
Well, what I've noticed is
Before Rich answers, I'm gonna guess that it
Yeah.
divides neatly along age lines.
yeah, it's the younger category of left-leaning liberal men that create most technology startups that have great ideas and launch pretty cool companies, but they don't do very well at life. They kind of suck at relationships. And at some point, they're going to hit the wall and have their trauma or have their safe world theory shattered, and recognize that, it doesn't matter how legendary you are at creating your, fill in the blank business. If you can't manage your relationship with your wife or significant other, thinking that, everything will be tickety boo because you made vows, just will slap you in the face.
The reason I asked for that is because there's been a lot of discussion about Elon Musk and his
Yeah.
his new
Well, he's got a new girlfriend. Did you see?
Yeah, so the gothy girl.
Yeah.
Which has surprised me because like she's really, I mean, obviously she's got that kind of musician gothy look to her. Maybe I know it's Grimes. I get that. You don't have to explain to me who she is. But I think that just what you're saying there is the guy can be a fantastic entrepreneur. He can, put men on Mars and, cars in orbit and do all this stuff, which I still think is, we're gonna have to wait and see just how significant a guy Elon is. But the reason I have my doubts about him is because he is very much a beta when it comes to women. And if you've read the Rolling Stone interview that Neil Strauss did of him, and just see that he is completely invested in one-itis and completely invested in the soulmate myth. I don't care, I don't care how much the guy earns. I'm sure he makes a whole lot. I mean, goddamn it. I mean, they got the gigafactories here in Reno. People say, well, why don't you give him your book? He needs your book. Otherwise we're never going to get to Mars if he doesn't go red pill. And I'm like, well, I would be happy to hand him one because he's just down the road from me here. But I just think that having that as a mindset is a handicap. It's really a handicap for guys.
I wouldn't invest in any company that's led by a guy like Elon Musk just because of his, ego investments. He gets distracted very, very badly. I mean, I did a video on, I think the title was "Why Is Elon So Hurt?" And I mentioned that interview he did with Neil Strauss, and he wasn't able to present on the Model 3 because he was basically bawling on the floor, crying about this girl that dumped him.
Yeah.
And wasn't even able to finish that interview. But
I've got one quick thing. I got one quick story here. Is I used to work. I mean, everybody knows I worked in the liquor industry for a long time. I used to work for a guy who he created some brands of vodka that I'm sure everybody has had a drink of at once or twice in their lives. Dude made a lot of money, but his first wife just put him through the ringer and just took I mean, the guy was pretty wealthy to begin with, and she took at least half of what he had. And pretty much everybody who was his financial backers for all of his brands, they didn't want, after that was over, they all kind of backed up and they didn't want to give him money like they used to give him. And the reason for that is because they did not want to risk the half of the company becoming the property of whatever woman he was going to marry next. So if you think you think the red pill and all the stuff that I go into doesn't have real world consequences, that's a real world consequence right there.
yeah, that's a great illustration.